I haven't talked about this openly before. I worked with Jim Choge. Jim Choge was a lawyer.
Yes.
But he was also a lawyer of the late Honorable Nicholas Biwott. Jim Choge came to my office and gave me documents. Those documents had details of where toxic waste was being dumped in Kenya. In my stupidity, I took those documents and went and confronted President Moi. And I told him, Mzee, I have information. The people in the Ministry of Energy, they are cheating Kenyans that they are looking for oil. But this is toxic waste that is being dumped in Northeastern and around that area.
Hello guys, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. So today we want to discuss something that has been, these are sad news to our country and also to those who like the environment and environment management. So there has been there has been that discussion about this desert called Chalbi Desert, which is found in Marsabit County, that is in the bordering counties. Actually, it is a small arid desert in northern Kenya, also east of Lake Turkana and nears the Ethiopian border. So this desert covers at least 100,000 square kilometers and is one of the Kenya's hottest and most arid region. The desert is surrounded also by volcanoes and also the ancient lava flows, and is known by many as the most natural, beautiful desert in Kenya due to its towering sand dunes and also the volcanic mountains. So in 1990, or rather 1988 rather, there has been there has been discussions, and also there has been talks that nuclear waste was disposed in this desert, and we all know the effects of nuclear waste, and know that they are very toxic. So today, one renowned leader, that is Cyrus Jirongo, if you've been following the politics of Kenya for the past few years, or the 1980s, 1990s onwards, we all know the way Cyrus Jirongo was a powerful individual in Moi's government. So today he has revealed in his YouTube channel, that is the Alfa K something, on an interview, that the government authorized the dumping of hazardous toxic waste in northeastern Kenya in 1980s by the Western Farm, which is licensed to explore for oil. So indeed, this is really serious, and also being that it comes from someone that was an inner one, or rather close link to the Moi government, we trust this, and no one can doubt this. So also leaders from this region, for example, the former senator Bilu Kero, who did a report about this in 2016, and also since then much has not been done. And we all know that even in 2016 also Kemri carried out even a study in Marsabit area after cancer had killed over 500 people, and thousands of animals also died from the drinking of water, the pollutant water from this area. So at first, much has been said and people have discussed a lot about this, but the government has not taken any response, or rather has not responded. Also, even there was also a documentary that was published by Dennis Onsaringo about this, and maybe at the end of the video I'll post it so that you can refer to it and make conclusion. So this revolution is now a hotcake for the government to come out and explain to the people who are occupying these. Actually, now it is about 5 counties: Marsabit, Isiolo, Meru, and all the northeastern counties. So the government now should be held accountable, and the government should also relocate, or rather investigate, using even international experts to locate the sites and also determine the nature, the hazardous waste, and protect the environment and the residents from further damage. Because if they were buried inside, the water will still be, they are still being run by water. The waste will not end. They will be there for several years, and we know the effect will be too much. So the government should hold the companies which was involved. That is the one that has been said by the former MP Cyrus Jirongo, to come out, should be held accountable so that they pay for what. I know the lives cannot be paid. Several people have died, animals have been lost, but they cannot pay for this. But still, the government have to come out and explain, or rather give justice to those who have lost their family members. So before I go, maybe before I conclude, let us watch this together and make a conclusion about this. It is a sad one.
I've never been in trouble like that, because I was asked, where did you get these documents? And if you don't say where you got these documents, it's the end of you. Where did you get these documents? So I said, Mzee, you said we must always keep secret the source of our information.
Yes.
I have given you these documents. You're the head of state. You have the machinery to find out whether it is true or not. So for me, I'm relying on you to verify and validate these documents, because the person with the power to do it is yourself, not myself. And he made noise, ranted for almost 30 minutes. And the noise was loud enough until his security thought we are quarreling and that I'm not respecting the president. They were opening the door to check, is this young man fighting the head of state? But then, all through, I just thought he's being unreasonable. I've given him documents, he needs to find out. But then when I was leaving, is when my head opened up, because I was told, whatever we have discussed here, if I hear it out there, utajua. So I left. Then I said, what was I doing? Did I go to talk to whoever was dumping the toxic waste, that we are dumping toxic waste here? Because that appeared to be the reason. Because the way the whole information was received was so violent. As I crossed the gates of State House, it was 4 p.m. Gailo Davedi, who was the permanent secretary, had just been posted into the Minister of Energy. He was quickly reshuffled. I heard it on radio. We had just been discussing. He left the office for a few minutes and came back to continue the forum. That little 2, 3, 4 minutes, he moved out. A reshuffle was done. Because it was believed Gaylord must have given me these documents. Yet I was given by Jim Choge. Then I woke up, Jim Choge having been the lawyer of the late Biwott. Biwott had given them those documents to bring to me and then go back and tell Moi, we are naked. This boy knows too much about us. We must destroy him. So there is a lot of, I don't know how to call it.
But that, to me, the experience you have talks about the significance of leadership and patriotism.
Yes.
And you know, the one...
And the quality
yes.
of the people we put in office.
Absolutely.
The intent. Look at the cancer rate in the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
And if you do that survey, it is heaviest from Meru side coming. When you go towards Coast, towards Western and Nyanza, the cases are not as many because the dumping was taking place in that direction. Now, you have leadership that has the capacity to convince Kenyans that I'm looking for an office to serve you, that so and so or the other leadership you had looks at me because of ABCD.
Bordering Ethiopia to the north, Samburu and Isiolo counties to the south, Turkana County to the west and Wajir to the east is Kenya's Marsabit County, the largest county in the country by some accounts. The last time I was in Marsabit was 3 years ago. I traveled through Karigi town that was struggling with a cancer menace that had claimed a life in almost every home. I set up base in my corner, which seemed to be the epicenter of the killer disease. I spoke to relatives of those who are affected by the scourge. The county is choking from the killer fumes. When you travel through the northeastern region of this country, the landscape here is not only an amazing piece of art, but also a potential tourist attraction site. But here lives a population of people who are constantly on the move in search of water and pasture. They rarely have the time to sample the beauty and splendor of this region, but something else is hunting them down, the scourge of cancer.
I got some interest to know how many people also died before I came here. And as I was jotting their names down, I came up to a total of 64 patients, and we have 3 who are now living, surviving, 2 who had breast cancer and they had the operation, the removal of the affected breasts.
Asunta, who had been running the government-funded health facility before moving to the far-flung North Hall region, told me her figures accounted for the period of a very short stay here. By the time we were leaving Kargi, graves dotted the dusty outpost town 70 kilometers from Marsabit County. In 2015, and we returned to Karigi in search of cancer survivors. It is a tedious undertaking. The families of the cancer survivors are nomads. They have since moved on. But something stands out under the sweltering heat of the dry, barren land, home to 15 villages. The graves of those who have fallen to the scourge, whose origin remains a mystery. The images of death here in Kenya's dry north came to national limelight 3 years ago when we captured the full extent of this killer disease that had been quietly wiping out entire households. Images that are now frozen in time. The youngest cancer patient died days after we left Kargi. The youngster had been diagnosed with the cancer of the stomach. Unable to eat or swallow food, the residents here just watched him cry. Watched the young one waste away until he could not breathe anymore. He died. What exactly is the cause of the cancer that wipes and continues to wipe hundreds of residents of Marsabit County? Residents here believe the cancer must have been as a result of an oil exploration gone wrong. In 1988, a highly powered government delegation landed in Marsabit County with what sounded like good news. The government announced the discovery of oil deposits in the expansive Chalbi Desert. An oil exploration meant two things for the residents here: work and the opening up of the far-flung, forgotten wild north.
Hopefully by early next year.
Ukuri Atani, the current governor of Marsabit County, says he was around when the oil exploration news spread across the land.
Whitish stuff. And we are being told when they do it, those some of the locals are given leave to be away from that region completely. And we are told, the people who are burying those are people who are protected. Protected in white dress, like, nuclear protective material. Whitish, everywhere is covered. Then, the shovel digs the ground, bury some white substance, and then put plastic sheet, and then return the earth, the soil, over this. But, as these people were living, most of the communities around that area, they thought, these people have buried a treasure that can be used for anything. So they went about excavating, removing those plastic materials, and started using for construction of, huts, even using as a ceiling, like replacing their homes with ceiling material. A lot of things were happening. And incidentally, this is the area that, we've had crisis in terms to date. The number of people dying are so many.
Those who took part in burying of what residents here described as white substance contained in small cans will later complain of the peeling off of their skin. Some reportedly died.
We were able to take sample of water from a number of these places, from Kargi, Maikona, Kalachan, Northward, and all these places. And we took to some laboratories in Germany with the help of the priest in charge Northward, Father Anthony. But the sample showed a lot of contamination, particularly from the waste products, the feces, the manure. But it was difficult to establish if it contained carcinogenic material.
Indeed, another research conducted by a government agency recommended the closing of all major wells used by residents for domestic needs. The residents were to find alternative water points for their animals and for personal consumption. But to date, 8 years on, dozens continue to fall ill. The numbers are rapidly rising and at an alarming pace.
I am very worried with the turn of events. We are burying people daily. Now, it's like a common disease. They say, so and so has the problem of throat, can't swallow. Then they will tell you, what's the point of taking to hospital? Even when they discover, in a hospital that you are being told that, you have a problem with the throat, the first thing that hospital will tell you that, please take me back to my home. I know this is my last.
Indeed, returning to Karigi 3 years later, the crisis is still persisting. The number of those falling sick is growing. Trapped under the broken-down Manyata is Elikise Ali Nolaso. A mother of 4, Nolaso was ferried here from Nairobi last week. She's the latest victim of the cancer of the stomach. Nolaso can hardly sit up or even sip the only thing she has now, water. The pain from the swollen stomach betrays her determination to stay alive. Sadly, Nolaso's story is not isolated. Just a few yards from here is the grave of Naingisa Nolaso, her co-wife. Naingisa succumbed to throat cancer. Sadly, it was Nolaso who has been taking care of Naingisa until she passed away. Nolaso told KTN News she was later moved to several hospitals and doctors informed her she was suffering from stomach ulcers. The diagnosis was wrong. Nolaso's cancer had got into a critical stage. The husband, Kulamo Nolaso, says he just buried his first wife a few months ago. The husband was hoping for the best as he feared for the worst. By the time we got to Marsabit, the family called us and informed us that Nolaso had died. Nolaso, we were told, was buried next to her co-wife, whom she had taken care of when she was sick. Her death adding to the grim statistics of a village that feels alone and forgotten. A few kilometers from the main shopping center, we go looking for Milgitis Marakole, a cancer patient who had to undergo several surgeries to contain the rapid spread of the killer disease. Her manyata was still in place, but Malgit was missing. The last time I was here, I was met by a determined cancer patient trying to stay alive. 3 years later, I return here and I'm told Melkiti passed on. Her 3 children have been given up to the neighbors for care. The husband moved from this place to another town in Kor. Life has never been the same for the family. Malgit's cancer ate into her face and hands. Doctors rushed to stop the cancer from spreading by grafting part of her body. In the process, disfiguring her face. Gisewes Marakole, who nursed the sickly Malgit, says Malgit will not stand the stigma and pain that came with her condition. Malgit will not survive the night. And here lies the remains of a woman who fought so hard to stay alive. When we last spoke to her, Malgit was planning to move to another town with her children. She died without getting there. The husband, Adot Esmarakole, says things have not been easy for the family. He has been a father and man on the move. In my corner, the story of the cancer epidemic is captured in the eyes of the 18-year-old Wario Athano. Wario left my corner 2 years ago after her mother, the sole breadwinner, succumbed to breast cancer. In 2013, the mother told her daughter, who was 12 years at the time, that doctors had promised her she will pull through. One of her breasts was cut off to arrest the spread of the killer disease. Aride did not make it. She died.
Mara ya kwanza wakati ilianza kwa upande ya matiti. alafu matizi sasa ilianza kuvimba ikawa na kinonda, so ikawa penetrate mpaka huko ndani. So baadaye kutoka huko wakachukua wakaenda kwa wazee wengine madaktari ya kienyeji, wakasema ni ugonjwa mwingine ya kienyeji, lakini bado tena ikawa anazidiwa.
The mother fought her breast cancer for almost 1 year. Aride died in her sleep months later after granting us an interview. She was 55 years old. At the time, the son says his younger sister was taken in by the county ward representative for care. They had moved from their Manyata in Maikona town. But Aride is not the only documented case of cancer in Maikona. In 2013, residents here were putting the number of those who had died at more than a dozen. A nurse at Maikona Health Center says they are treating symptoms of a condition that is slowly taking a life of its own.
Yesterday we lost a patient. She had a throat cancer. She has been having it. We've been just managing her, just giving her treatment, like cough therapy only. That's the only thing we can do for her, because we have no other treatment for cancer, and we are just managing her, just giving her palliative care. After we treating them here for cough, we refer them. They don't go as fast as possible, so they just stay with the disease, and the disease progresses. And when they get there, it's very late. So they get there when it's in stage 4. There's nothing much can be done. So they just come back here for palliative care, and we watch them die, because there's nothing else we can do for them. Yeah.
Residents here feel the county and national governments know what is killing them, but they're doing little to stop the spread of the killer disease.
Tunataka serikali intervene. Hii watu watakufa, atamalizika, na tumejigopa. Serikali aangalie hii maneno, ilete wale ambao wanafahamu maneno hii yote. Ilete hapa on the ground na watu waone sasa kiini ni nini. Pengine watu iko kitu wanasababisha chakula na maji hatujui.
Is it meat? Is it water that is killing residents of Karigi town in their hundreds? Or is it the mysterious substances buried here close to 3 decades ago that has turned an entire community into a scared lot?
We've communicated severally, not once. We even reported it to the chief, and chief in turn reported it to the guys at the county. So there's nothing has been done.
When KTN News visited Karigi 3 years ago, the government promised to send in a team to Karigi, Maikona and Bubisa to try and get to the bottom of the scourge. The government did begin a project of pumping water from kilometers away, an indication that maybe the problem lies in the water. But the government has been non-commit on what exactly is behind the endless deaths here.
The material. It was not easy to establish. 2013, when I was elected the governor of this county, I approached the Deputy President's office. One of his advisors, who is a Japanese, Professor Ino, we had a good discussion, and he said he's going to look for grants to commence a study on what could be the one causing it. Was forwarded to the Ministry of Health, and KEMRI was given the grant to do the necessary research and find out why there's an upsurge of cancer. Unfortunately, to date, we've not been furnished the report. We've been in touch with KARI, but we've not gotten response to date.
Was there time frame?
Yeah, it was ought to have been concluded in 6 months. But we are almost now 2 years, and nothing has come out of it.
When we contacted some of the lead experts from the Medical Training Institute, KEMRI, they told us their teams are still on the field. The national government officials here and the county government say they do not have any teams currently on the ground. it's not even clear if the teams ever visit those affected.
And we are even tired of people from government. They are coming here asking us, taking the history, asking us of everything, but nothing is happening. It seems that we are not Kenyans, and we don't know why.
Asonto kept records of those who have died and still struggling to stay alive, moved to a far-flung area. The exact number of the new infection is not known. The number of those who have died at home is equally unknown. But residents here say they are burying their own in dozens every month.
Idadi ya watu ya Maikona wale ambao wamekufa na ukimwi ni kidogo, na wale ambao wanakufa na kansa ni zaidi. Kila mwaka watu nakufa. Tunadhania tutakwisha. Hata sisi tunadhania sasa family. Tumefikiria kwamba mama ile my mother-in-law amekufa na kansa. Na bibi yangu ambao sasa anashika hiyo mama kila siku, she's very close to her, amekufa. Mimi nadhania hii kitu inafuata family. Tunafikiria sasa ni family. Na tunasema wakati tunakaa hivi duniani, tunasema tutakwisha tu na kansa.
Nolasa can only wait now. His two wives are gone, and he now fears that maybe the killer disease will come knocking on his Manyata once again. For Wario Athano, his world has collapsed before his own eyes. Without his mother and the sister still under the care of the county government. It has been a lonely place for the 18-year-old boy. He can't stay out in the field because he will starve. Gisewa is pondering his next move. He can't stay in Karigi because life is unbearable. His children are now under the care of his relatives. The father of three told us no one is listening, no one cares. It has been 3 years now since the government promised to get to the bottom of the cancer scourge in Marsabit County, but nothing has given.
Maneno hata ya relief hata tunadhania. Mahindi wakati yanaletwa, mahindi mbovu zaidi. Mbovu kabisa. Lakini watu iko njaa wanakula. Na hiyo mahindi tunasema anaweza lete madhara.
Experts are warning that the cancer story is not restricted to Marsabit alone. They believe that if it's water, counties like Meru are likely to fall victim because they share the water table. If it's meat, then livestock from northern Kenya is finding its way to the city. No one in this part is safe from the tentacles of cancer that continues to threaten the lives of thousands of residents here.
This is a problem. We are losing people in hundreds nowadays. Like almost 4 out of 5 that we lose, that we bury over the weekends in a number of places. Almost 4 out of 5 are related to cancer disease. And a lot of it is to do with throat cancer or abdominal, anything related to, gastro.
For now, 3 years later, 3 years after we first highlighted this unfolding tragedy, this county remains the lonely desert of death. Denson Sarigo,